I'm still trying to figure this town, Clifton, New Jersey, out. I've lived in 40 years in Upper Passaic County in Bloomingdale, Treetop Apartments. And 40 years in Upper Passaic County. Growing up at Treetop, I went to Walter T. Bergen, Samuel O'Donnell School my sister went to. I went to Butler High School, and I graduated my last year in West Milford. I still can't figure Clifton out. They say they're stigma-free, but in truth, they're the most stigmatizing town in America I've ever seen. I've been in every place in America. Uh, what, for what insane reason, I really have to ask the Clifton police, if you're stigma-free, why, when I called you up to tell you the New York City terrorist lives a mile down the street from Corrales at Genesee and Getty and Knickerbocker, when I found that out before the terrorist attack, or if I called you up about a terrorist tip, why did that warrant dragging me to a mental hospital and calling mental crisis? You say you're stigma-free, but if you're under that impression that you really are, you're not, and I'll tell you why. I've a PhD in sociology. I'm good at it. I've been published around the world for my sociology expertise. Now, if you're stigma-free, what makes 10 Clifton police barge in my house because I called them to give them an Al-Qaeda tip and drag me to a hospital? It proves that you stigmatize me. What makes you think, please, that a person with any mental disability that can't have an Al-Qaeda, can't possess Al-Qaeda information, and that it warrants dragging them to a mental hospital? It shows that you're not stigma-free. I called the police about a terroristic threat my father made towards me about shooting me, and BBC world-respected journalist Queen Elizabeth II gave her highest esteemed journalist award to, Jeremy Paxman at British Broadcasting in London. I don't want to get into the details, but when I called you, what makes you think, because I called you and I wanted to file a terroristic threat against anybody, that just because I have a mental disability, an ADHD or whatever you think, what makes you think that warrants a huddle for 20 minutes to decide whether you're going to call a mental crisis on me or not? What makes you think that a mentally disabled person can file a terroristic threat complaint? I'm scared to call the police about anything at all. And I'm going to reiterate it one more time. I'm not making it up. You can believe what you want. My father, who worked for the CIA all his life and is semi-retired now, and also Arnold Stark, my former partner, who is deceased now last year, Maplewood, told me, I had a long talk with him after I told him what happened. I said, now what should I do? I'm worried about the people in the system. I'm worried about what these three bomb-making people told me, that they have some targets here, and they want to pay me for stealing nuclear information from my father, who was a nuclear physicist, always was for his life, for Charles T. Maine, and it's true. I have his resume, I can prove it in a dime. And I'm conflicted, Should I call the police again about anything that's a danger to the innocent civilians in this town and themselves? And I'm convinced that someone needs a psychological evaluation, because for 3.5 years, I've been almost 6.5, 7 years here, and 2.5 or 3 years I spent in mental hospitals because of your place. And that's the most stigmatizing thing, because you really when you called the police, when I called up and said, I'd like to give you a terrorist tip, you stigmatized me because you think a mentally ill, someone with a mental disability, whether I have one or not, isn't worthy of giving you an Al-Qaeda tip, and I certainly am. And you also, when I called you, and I just like to end it with this, you're constantly throwing me in mental hospitals because some high school kid at Collaborative Support Services tells you to, who isn't qualified legally to do so. And I know it needs a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But the thing is this: if you throw anyone, me or anyone else, you should put someone in a mental hospital that's a threat, a danger to themselves or others. Now, I'm not either. But my landlord, I told you, and I have a tape, he says he's going to shoot me. I'm a service animal. He wants me to die. He wants me to drink poison, and he has a method to hide the body. I said that he wouldn't report it to the police. I have several tapes of him. You won't even listen to him, basically. Even Detective Mazama or whoever. He didn't want to hear it all. Well, he should have. That's your job. I'm an investigator. worked for Health Advice for a very long time in Upper Passaic County for years on cult killings, homicides, embezzlement, drugs. Anyway, my landlord, why isn't he in jail again? And why didn't you give him a psychological evaluation? You officers, you said yourselves have said we called him. We called him at least 20 times in incidents, including the health and building inspector about heating off and freezing in the winter. Whatever it is, the guy is a danger to me anyway. Not to himself, but to others, to me. So he's going to shoot me. He's threatened me. He's sexually harassed me. Why don't you drag him away for a mental health evaluation? It shows that you're stigmatizing only me, and you shouldn't. And please asking you not to do it again. Now, again, I'm going to say these 3 PLO members who I met in Clifton, New Jersey, is no joke. The first, I met them at the Red Apple Pharmacy. It's now the Green Apple. I keep tabs on everything. I know more about this town than you probably do. You've got every type of criminal activity imaginable. It's as bad as Newark, believe it or not. I don't deal with that type of petty stuff. I deal with serious things like terrorism, and war and peace. But I hope that you're going to think twice about what's going on around here, because these PLO people, formerly partaking in a group bombing down the street, asking me to steal nuclear information, when they asked me what my father did for a living. I told them what he does. They said they promised me they were going to give me free housing, Lauren Murphy, money, drugs, cigarettes, anything I wanted, food, free cable, if I would to furnish them and get them the information they wanted. And I'm not a trader. I wouldn't do so. You don't know me very well. Most of my life is highly classified. But I will tell you that I'm an international honor student. I went to college over 16 years, 6 of it in computer science, 4 undergraduate, and the rest over about 10 years in international relations, diplomacy, and human rights law, international law. And I've been an international war crimes investigator for a long time, as well as a national investigator. And I'm telling you, I really have reservations. And you need to take these threats extremely serious here in Clifton. The municipal building was a target, they said. The Superior Court in Patterson was a target, and the Eastern Star Freemasons. Now, I said to Arnold, I said to my dad recently, my dad's coming here. As soon as, I haven't talked to him in a while, but when I told him recently, again, reiterated the experience I've had with this terrorism business here, he said he's coming here, and he's coming here soon. I just talked to him last night on Facebook text, and he said he's going to be here shortly. And he's taking this very seriously. And I hope that we could put the past behind and move on to serious things. He recommended, and Arnold Stark, Naval Intelligence, my former partner for 20 years, also said, quote, if the Maza or that detective and the police want to throw you in mental hospitals, kill the ferret, and want to blow up and kill themselves and are a danger to the threat to themselves and others, they not only need a mental health evaluation at St. Joe's, psychologically perhaps, don't ever call the Clifton police about anything again. If they want to die and they want their municipal building to blow up, let it happen. And I don't want that to happen. But I'm sorry I can't call you unless you sign the contract with me that you will not throw me in a mental hospital if I tell you what's going on. And I struggle with that every day also. So think about it. I just had enough of everything here. I've never been in a more difficult situation in my life. Saturday, I tried to fill my medicines I've been on for 35 years. And the Walgreens again in Clifton, the pharmacist I've never seen, lied to my face knowingly. I filled for 35 years. At 7 years, they go right through Medicare. It cost me $5. But she said I have to pay thousands of dollars for them. No, to try to discourage me from getting them. Walgreens in Clifton, Main Street by the post office, does not want to fill narcotic prescriptions, even if it's warranted medically and scientifically from a doctor. And good ones, because I only go to the best doctors. I said, I'll call Humana myself. And then she goes, I'll just put them through. And she did, which proved that she lied to me and tried to get me not to fill them. And tonight, again, I went to fill a simple pain prescription for a very low-class narcotic. I have an MRI. I went to 10 surgeons in Wayne. I went to 2 recently in the past 2 weeks. And they immediately put me on 100 milligrams of oxycodone. I couldn't take that, so they put me on the synthetic opioid tramadol equal to it every 4 hours. I give Dr. Jesus my MRI today, and the surgeon, Dr. Wanik, I saw, says, you need to go back to MS Cotton, strong, long-acting opiates. And because the U.S. government says I have 3 chronic pain diseases for life, and I have cancer-type pain 24 hours a day, I legally can have access to every opiate that any doctor necessitates. They're not going to lose their license, but Phil Murphy and I've called 500 doctors, including Dr. Jesus, who looked at my MRI, and all you need to do is look at it, and you know automatically that I have cancer-type pain. Besides the fibromyalgia and arthritis, which I never mentioned, for 30 years. And she switches me. I thought she was going to give me at least, a strong long-acting pain medicine where I take 2 a day because I need that to function. Or I can't do anything, really. But she gives me 5 milligrams of what? Hydrocodone, like at least not even 7 or 10, when 10 surgeons in Passaic County and doctors in Upper Passaic County and Wayne say I need at least 100 milligrams of oxycodone and Tramadol every 4 hours. I just give up. I will not see one more doctor in Clifton. And the Polish guy saw Dr. Sheeks at 1033 Clifton Avenue. The Inglewood spinal surgeon recommended I see. Took a look at the MRI and said it's horrific himself. But there's no way I can go to. I don't know what the deal is. I go with him. He's the only doctor. I might not be a medical doctor, but no one with pain disease, you don't torture them and pinch them and punch them in the back. He not only did that, he told me to lie on the table. And I said, what are you doing? He didn't even tell me. And he jabs me like someone's whale fishing or spear fishing with some injection. I said, what are you doing? What is it? He wouldn't even tell me. Then he charged me over $1,000 for the injection, close to $2,000 for the whole fucking visit. He expects me to pay 20% of it when Medicare doesn't pay. I got news. I hate to lose Ursula there because I love her and she's a great, whatever she is there in the medical part. But if they're going to threaten me over the co-payment for that motherfucker, Dr. Sheeks, Dr. Mike, whoever he is, that Polish guy, they got another thing coming. And I'll sue. I'm going to have to file I already filed a Department of Justice complaint against them for reckless negligence. I'm about to do the same to Walgreens and some other people here now tonight because I've had enough of it. I have more important things to do than to waste 8 or 10 hours a day bickering with ignorant asses in the town over prescriptions or anything else. Landlord disputes, filing my own incident reports. I have serious things I need to do. Anyway, I went back to the Polish guy 2.5 weeks ago, and I pain where I've never had it before since he fucking jabbed me like a whale or a piece of fucking barbecue meat. And he didn't even tell me what he's doing. And then he wants to bill me for it. I see a bill, over $1,100 for that. I got news, you're not getting it. There's plenty of doctors in Wayne that I'll go to. And then from now on, I'm going to fill all my prescriptions and do all my shopping in Kinlan, Wayne, and Bloomingdale. It's worth a 20 or 30-minute drive instead of spending 10 hours to drive 3 miles with the traffic around here, like it's Midtown Manhattan, and stand 5 hours in line at Walmart, ShopRite, which is overpriced, or to sit on the floor in Walgreens that doesn't even have a chair for aged and disabled people. And you're stigma-free, huh? I think you better think again. You're anything